We're so happy to see you all here. It will be an amazing afternoon and amazing night. Don't you think so?
I think so, for sure. We're here in Oslo. We have quite a few digitally participants as well that will follow the stream. We are at Aker Brygge. It's a couple of degrees minus here. Now we have some visitors from long way away where there was 35 degrees, so it's a big difference, right, Pranay? Special extra welcome to you all the way from India. And welcome to all of you for joining us. We're here now for the 9th time.
That's amazing. That's
amazing.
Incredible, yeah. So I think we've almost passed 100 startups now since we started 5 years ago within the Accelerator.
So typically we run a cohort every term. So we do a cohort in spring and one in autumn. And this is the 9th cohort for 5 years, 4.5 years, yeah?
Yeah, 4.5 years, yeah. So is it the best cohort yet?
Always. This is the best cohort, for sure.
Yeah.
And we have a mix of companies. A few of them are from Sweden. Actually, most companies are from Sweden. But we have a couple of international companies as well with us today.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
So what's the plan? What's the schedule for today, David? What will happen these upcoming hours?
We'll have an agenda, and we're going to try to rush through it quite fast, because I'm quite sure that most of you want to get over there and have a drink. So we're going to start with a few presentations. We're going to talk about our ecosystem around DigitalWell Arena. And of course, we have the startup initiative. We have a purchasing and yeah, you can call it a demand accelerator, right, Lina? A community around that. And we have a few new initiatives around incubation and the startups as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and let you know what we're up to. Then we're going to have a fireside chat with these eminent investors here. We have 6 investors with us. We're going to introduce you quite soon. We're going to have an hour where we do a fireside chat with a couple of questions. And then after that, what are we going to do, Stefan?
Yeah, we'll have a party. Yeah.
No pitching?
Yeah.
No pitching? Yeah, we'll do some pitching. Yeah.
Forgot about that. Okay, we will meet the excellent startups, of course. We will meet 8 companies.
8 companies
today. Yeah, and they will pitch for 5 minutes each, and they will get questions from this. Well, not so perhaps nice investors yet. They've met friendly investors in the program already, but today they are real investors here today.
Actually, a couple of you were there. You, Samuel, you were friendly last time. Are you going to be friendly today?
No. Of course, and if you're watching online, you can also ask questions in the chat. We send this on LinkedIn live, but also on YouTube. So please share questions with to the teams or anything else that you're wondering about, and we will answer as quickly as we can.
Yeah. So we're going to try to be ready at 17:30. So to be able to do that, I think we should get started.
Yeah, right. And for you that's here, we have coffee and water and so on, so it's just free to go and take if you need it during these presentations, whenever you want, of course. Yeah.
And then after 17:30, we'll network in the bar together. All right?
Yes.
So let's start. So I think I'll start with you, Stefan.
Oh.
Yeah. DigitalWell Accelerator. Tell us about it. What is that?
Yes, quickly. Yeah, we want to accelerate digital innovation for real change in the world. And we think it's very important to support great startup founders in their startup journeys so that we can actually get these solutions that the startups are working on to actually get them implemented into society. And we're focused on primarily on 3 areas, and that's health tech, not pharmaceuticals, not too advanced medtech, it's health tech, digital health tech solutions, but also solutions for security and the public sector. So that's the focus of the Accelerator program.
And how does that differentiate from medtech, for example?
Yeah, we want the solutions to be quite quickly implemented, if possible, into the health and wellness sector and so on. Could also be preventive solutions. Of course, it's the best thing if you don't need to go to the hospital. That's the best thing. So we love that kinds of solutions as well.
Yep.
We run these programs twice a year, and everybody from every startup from the Nordics and the Baltics can apply. And our next cohort will start in February next year. So, yeah.
And I think in this particular cohort, we actually tried something new, right? So we have proactively worked with the Nordics and the Baltics when we deal with ecosystems. We're talking to incubators and environment, science parks, stuff like that. But sometimes we have international companies applying to us anyway, and they find us. And in this case, we had 2 companies from India that applied, and we had looked at those companies, and we actually accepted them because we thought they were so good. And now I think we're going to start taking India very seriously, right?
Yes. So we like to do some things differently each cohort and see how it works. And I think this has worked really good, and we want to continue on that.
And if you look at the maturity stage of Accelerator, how will that differentiate from other types of startup environments, such as an incubator?
Yes, an incubator usually is quite early stage, of course, from ID to validation. We want to focus on the companies that has their MVP, that has their pilot project perhaps proven or on their way to be proven, or who actually got customers. And that's, of course, the best thing. It's not always the case because these sectors usually take some time. But if they have customer, have sent their first invoice, that's a great sign. And that's where we think it's a good point to scale. And that's what the Accelerator program is all about, actually scaling. So therefore, we work with go-to-market and investment strategies of how to scale your startup in the best way. And we use our extended network, our international network of around 100 mentors, but also investors and ecosystem players that we're working very closely with to do this. It wouldn't be possible if we didn't also worked with the ecosystem that we have around this. And after the program, we try to support the startups as alumni companies, of course, as well, because it takes some time. So we do that as much as we can as well.
But sometimes you're not quite there yet as an entrepreneur. You have an idea, you want to build something from scratch, you don't have an MVP, far less a client. And we know how much work it may be to come to the first stage to actually send your first invoice. What do we do then? We create a incubator, which we did 2 years ago, something like that.
Yes, and we're part of the Swedish National Excellence Program, actually, for funded by the Swedish Innovation Agency, and so we're very proud of that, to have this opportunity for very early stage startups. So for that we have
Lisa
with us here today.
Say hello to Lisa from DigitalWell Ventures Incubator.
Yeah.
Is this one? Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Very nice to see you here today.
Please tell us a little bit about the DigitalWell Incubator program.
Yes, so my name is Lisa and I work as a startup advisor to DigitalWell Ventures and also responsible for our incubator. And in the incubator, we support startup in early stage, as you said, and especially that offers innovative solutions in digital health and for the public sector. So we especially help them to validate their solution and support their go-to-market strategy to be ready to the Accelerator program.
So if you have an ID, is it possible to apply to this program if you only have an ID? Or?
No, you have to start your company and to be at least 2 person in the team. But then you can join the incubator. So we have around 12 companies today in the incubator, and we have to be a lot more.
Yes.
Is the plan.
That's the plan.
Yes.
Keep it coming. All right. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you very
much.
Awesome.
Lisa.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Stefan. So we created the incubator, and there's some other initiatives currently going on as well. Can you say a few words on what we're looking at right now?
Yes, so security is of course very important for the public sector, but also for us as individuals as well. So we've started some initiatives for the last 2 years also in this area. And we look at security from a very broad perspective for citizens, but also for countries, but for organizations and so on. So Stefan Peterson, would you like to tell us a little bit of one of the initiatives that we're doing? A big applause for Stefan.
Thank you.
The other Stefan, because we didn't introduce ourselves, but my name is Stefan Skoglund, and you are?
I'm David Holm.
And this is?
Stefan Peterson.
Yeah.
But we're going to change the name on David to Lasse, so we will be a total Swedish dance band.
Yeah.
No, but a little bit about what I'm doing right now. I'm the one in the core team here that is around mingling all over Europe with a glass of wine in my hand, always getting new contacts for all your startups that are out there. But I'm also right now sitting at KTH, the Royal Technology College in Stockholm, 3 days a week and doing a pre-study on starting up both strengthen their innovation, but starting up both acceleration and incubation there. And we probably think that we will start a cybersecurity vertical, and we're going to try that out in February next year, in alliance with the cohort we have within health as well.
Okay.
So
Yes, and this is an initiative called
Cyber
Campus.
Campus, yes.
Yeah, funded by the Swedish government.
And it's pretty strange because it's funded directly by the government from the regeringskvartalet. Actually, I've never seen that kind of funding, but it's probably due to the geopolitical situation in the world, it's prioritized.
So if someone here knows a startup or someone working in the security field, what should they do?
Take contact with me. But then again, remember, since we are a lot of Norwegians here today, that first year will only be Swedish companies. But there is always, I want to talk to anybody within the sphere.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks.
Like,
All right. So if we lift our focus a little bit from startups and scale-ups, looking at where does DigitalWell Ventures fit in, we are a piece of a puzzle of a much bigger initiative called the DigitalWell Arena initiative. So we have 2 members here with us from DigitalWell Arena. It's Jonas Matting and Lina Svensberg. And they're going to talk about a little bit different things. First, you're going to give us a helicopter view, Jonas, on DigitalWell Arena, what we do there. And also then you, Lina, is going to talk about the demand acceleration community. So welcome, both of you.
Whoa.
Thanks. Okay, so we're changing how we're doing innovation in Sweden in health tech and in the world, I would say. So we're also working for Brussels and United Nations. So we're changing the world in innovation in health tech. And how do we do that? Yeah, by shaping a new market. And a new market needs 2 things, at least, and that's standards. So we're talking English today, so everyone understands. So we need standards in this area, and we're doing that. And we also do procurement. So companies and municipalities can buy new technology. So that's basically what we're doing. New standards and new procurement, ways of working. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this within the DigitalWell Arena initiative?
Almost 7 years, and we have another 3-4 years to go.
And research is also a part of this, right?
Yeah, we're backed by research, so any initiative that we take, we also listen to the research community. So we're doing things thoroughly, not just on the surface. Yeah.
And so why are you joining this startup event that we're having here? And how do you look at that from your point on the startup and the investor side as an initiative?
I mean, you're the most, important actors on the market. So if we're working with the prerequisites for a market, so the rules and standards and procurement issues, you bring in the new technology, you guys bring in the new ideas and the new energy into this sector, and that's well needed. So it's really important to connect with the startup world. And of course, that world needs the investors, so we also like to work with the investors. And I think that the work with the creating the marketing rules, the market rules, is also important for the investors, because you also know that this is a tough sector. So we need the rules so everyone can speak the same language. And I would say day by day we're getting closer.
Great. So can anybody talk to you who is interested in the Digital Arena and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys here in this forum maybe have the more the hard capital, so we're working a lot with soft funding. So we're helping a lot of companies doing applications and get access to soft funding in different ways. So we can help you out with that. And that's often needed in combination with other types of investments in the beginning.
Great. Thank you, Jonas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I think before Lina starts talking now, startups, please listen to what public sector can actually do with demand acceleration, because there's a lot of value here for startups. Please, Lina.
Yes, my name is Lina Svensberg, working with the DigitalWell Arena, but we actually have some history together.
Oh,
guys.
yes. Oh, yeah.
Lots of history.
Lots of history. I was part of the founding team for DigitalWell Ventures and the incubator and accelerator. But then we realized that, okay, we work with the startups. We give them as many tools as we can for them to enter the public market and create value. But that's just working on one side. Because there's also another side, where you have a demand for new technology. Someone wants to use it, and someone wants to buy it. And that's the way it spreads through the society and creates societal value, value for the companies, and also value for the customers. However, most acceleration, or all acceleration programs, methodologies, are about the startups. And I have a startup background myself, so I know about this. No acceleration program or methodology focuses on the demand side. So how can you use the demand to accelerate how new technology is brought in to the society? So what could then a demand accelerator be, given that analysis? Well, let's start with what we know about innovation. The ones who use a new technology and the ones who create a new technology need to work together. That's something we know. And we also know that scalability is an aspect, because if a new technology or a new solution stays with one customer or one user, we are not going to create any societal change, right? So we need to co-create and we need to scale. But if we think about a public market from this perspective, how we can communicate with each other from the supply side and the demand side is regulated by law, the law of the public procurement. So if we don't take that into account when you co-create, public procurement is going to come as a big bad wall and kill the innovation initiatives, right? And also, if you don't take the scalability into account, whatever you create, we have learned that as startups, right? Scaling doesn't happen by itself, or anyone. So if we don't try to stimulate scalability, it's not going to happen by itself. So if we, instead of seeing procurement as a big bad wall killing initiative, but it has to be a tool that can drive innovation in a way that works with what we know about innovation. Co-creation between the users and the companies, and scalability as a core aspect you start thinking about from the start. What happens then? That's what we put together in what we call the demand acceleration framework and the demand acceleration model. And the first time we tried that, how can procurement use to stimulate the development, the co-creation of innovative solutions? First time we did it, 2 years later, the solution is used on a scale to over 40 municipalities. First time. UN got interested, the Commission got interested, and that's why we are working with UN policy guidelines for innovation enhancing procurement. We lead a community, demand acceleration community, with over 200 individuals from the public sector in Sweden, trying to learn and figure out how we can work with procurement this way. And yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I think both for you, Lina, and Jonas, you're going to stay after the event, right? So we're going to be able to talk more over in the bar, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions regarding this. Thanks for a great appetizer for the information. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go over to the investors now. and ask you guys a few questions. What you think is shaping the new challenges for investors in the startup community? Obviously, there's new business models coming in, new technology coming in, markets are changing, but really there's one technology driver that's, well, they don't call it the black swan, but the gray swan when AI is coming in, changing everything. So it's a change, that's for sure. So I think the overarching sort of, discussion we're going to do now is try to see how AI is shaping your day when you look at startups, if it is at all. So if you're starting with you, Regina, if you can do a quick presentation and just quickly mention what you do.
Yeah. So I have a couple of different hats. I'm head of market strategy in an insurance company called If, which is the largest insurance company in the Nordics. And I also have the great opportunity of running the world's safest startup, which is now a scale-up, I would say, the sister company of If as well, which is a service company that I'm the CEO of. So I work a lot with corporate venture capital, corporate venture collaboration, and I also try to help others build. We do some joint venture, and I've also had my own, built something on my own lately as well, which is growing, and it's exciting.
I think it's quite interesting for many here to hear how a CVC will look at a startup, because your perspective may differ a little bit from a traditional VC, right, and other investors.
Yeah.
So obviously you have a parent company with certain interests. So what would be the factors that you'll be looking at when scouting for startups? Because I know you're talking to a lot of startups every year.
Yeah. Luckily, I have some help now, but I used to talk to between 1,000 and 1,500 founders every year, and a lot of them within health of natural reasons, being an insurance company. I was happy in the notes that you used the acronym CVC, because I like to say corporate venture collaboration and capital.
This is great.
Because we're not a natural or kind of, we don't usually hand out grants or funding, or we don't typically handle a lot of investment cases. We don't have an investment fund. What we do is that we strategically invest or strategically collaborate. Usually if we know we can offer joint growth, or we can do something together, reach more customers, increase customer experiences, lower risk, or anything else that's exciting together. But if we decide on investing, it's never a passive investment. We always invest actively and in collaboration with a startup or a scale-up.
What would you be looking at from a health tech perspective when a startup knocks on your door? What would be the kind of points that you will defining?
So it's the fun thing is that it's almost anything at this point, because there's so much innovation needed within health, both in terms of more effective treatment, lowering risk, helping customers better if something happens, and also prevention within any type of patient situation or health diagnostics. It's wide open for innovation right now. But what we do look at, we really need companies that understand how we can work together, that understands the insurance space, that understands regulatory requirements, and that can show us where exactly they can help us as well. What impact will this have on risk? What impact will this have on payouts? What are the actual health benefits? And in terms of prevention, that is very challenging. I was holding back a little bit of a smile when you said you want to do prevention because it's quicker. Sorry, but it really isn't, because we need proof. We need to know that when we invest, these preventative measures that we offer actually has a bottom line effect. You do actually decrease sick leave for a company or days spent in a health facility or using health services. We need to see impact, and that needs a lot of testing and a lot of time and a lot of users to prove. And unfortunately, we need those types of proofs in order to invest. So, yeah, that's the ice that I need to pour.
Yeah, no, but it's two sides of the coin, of course, as it always is. So any startup out there who wants to knock your own door and listen to what you just said, they're welcome to send in an application and you take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you. We'll move on to Steinar. You've been in this panel a few times before, Steinar.
Right.
You're also a mentor with DigitalWell Ventures Accelerator since we started 5 years ago. I know that you're an advisor and also an investor, so do you want to make a quick introduction of yourself?
Absolutely. Basically, I'm wearing 3 hats. We're all wearing a number of hats, aren't we? I'm an advisor to Aker Capital. It's a technology fund invested in listed Nordic tech companies. My day job is with Cyrus Corporate Finance. We are an M&A advisor licensed by Norwegian FSA, doing mid-market tech transactions. And privately, through my own investment company, I do seed stage investments. So I've been through 50, 60 companies over the past 15 years. Probably have a portfolio of 10 right now.
Interesting. I know that in the old days, I'm talking pre-Accelerator, you used to tell the story about when you were about to solve the traffic problem in Houston. Remember that? Using AI. Or you forgot that?
I was afraid you would bring that up, yeah.
And he was about to solve it, or not?
Nope.
That was the ambition.
Nope.
However, it was early, before AI became quite mature, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how would that look today? If you now, with your experience and investor hat, would look at yourself at that time, what questions would you ask?
At the time, we didn't really have access to mentors. I think being a founder and being a first-time founder and being young, there are a lot of advice you can take, and you should ask, and you should always get a group of mentors. And early on, it's fair that you don't have the funding or the complete team or so forth, but there's always the opportunity to build relationships with people with key insights, being on technology, on market, on business models, on the regulatory, what have you not. And through these dialogues, that's where you really frame your value proposition. And I think also a key learning point is that initially, most of the things you think through is probably wrong. You need to be agile, you need to listen, you need to do trial and error to find the actual product market fit and the value prop. And it could be different than what you initially think. A lot of founders think it through on the, I would say, the functionality that we're going to produce. And maybe the innovation is on collaboration processes, totally different. Or procurement, smart procurement for that matter. That's a key innovation, which is really, really needed. But most startups that I meet, they focus on a piece of functionality, actually.
That's interesting because it's not necessarily the product itself. It can be so many other things that need to innovate, even the business model. Yeah. So if you look at the things you've seen, what advice would you give to startups? Looking at the ones that fails, what could they have done differently? If you look at it from a general perspective.
I think it's always wise to start a startup when you have another job and the cash flow, or if you have a spouse that can fund you if it really need to be funded for a certain time. Because a number of startups, they take on too much cost too early, and then they need the extra cash flow. They need to get the soft funding. They need to get the investors in maybe too early and maybe at a valuation point which is the incorrect one. So I quite often see companies early on with what I call a broken cap table, passive people holding more than 50% of the company at the time of commercial launch, which makes it virtually impossible to fund the company with at least a typical venture funding going forward. So making sure that you organize your cap table properly and run efficiently and at low cost initially. I think on this list that I have here, you also asked the question with respect to AI. And I would like to actually bring that back into the discussion because I think AI is in many ways a fundamental game changer. And it does a couple of things with respect to the startup community. First of all, we need to recognize that a lot of the deep tech research, which used to happen at the universities, are now happening inside of the large ecosystem, the industrial ecosystems. And we just see it when they are launched as products or interfaces or APIs that we can actually utilize for something. So where does that leave a space for a startup when you have these big structures that come with functionality? And I think maybe a place for startup is to actually know your key customer better than anyone else, better than the large entities. You need to have customer intimacy as your core, differentiation strategy. Not functionality, not the price point, but customer intimacy. And the second thing that I would like to bring up is that a unique feature is management of proprietary data. Through that customer intimacy, if you get access to a large data, like insurance data, for instance, you can innovate on that, which is a key, I would say, prerequisite for training your algorithms and so forth. And that's also something that I see in a number of the AI startups that I meet, that they are focusing on functionality, but don't really have data access to train the algorithms properly to be relevant in the vertical that they are trying to enter. And the third point is really on AI, is that there are a number of AI startups out there. Everyone is an AI startup today. If not, you're not sort of in the club. I did just a brief desktop research on Sweden, and right now there are more than 400 AI-related startups in Sweden as we speak. And I just did a quick search, so the number is probably twice as high at least. So what does that leave you with respect to room to maneuver towards an investor? Because everything they hear is AI this and AI that. So you need to be very specific on the value prop and the value you're going to create, and why you are the right team on this specific vertical, and why you have the mentors that can bring you further and so forth.
Thanks. I saw, to bring it back to the cap table discussion you had before we went back to AI, I saw a lot of nods here. Everyone was nodding. So anyone want to expand on what Steinar said about the cap table? Is that a typical thing that you see out there, that the cap table needs to clean up? Do you want to expand on that, Cecilia?
Do you want me to present myself first?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, so I'm Lynn. I'm a partner in Lumolabs VC. So we are a pan-European fund based in the Netherlands, in Eindhoven. And we invest in digital deep tech for climate and health. So far, we have 30 companies in our portfolio. And I definitely agree with what you say. I also have a comment actually on the disruption within companies or startups, which role it leaves them, if I can comment on that first. Because I totally agree that a lot of the large companies now do a lot of innovation, but mostly I would say in making it more efficient. And not disrupting their own industries. So I think there is definitely a space still for the startups to disrupt those industries and be disruptive rather than just making it more efficient or add on to the tools. And on the other hand, of course, then there are also room to improve, and a lot of that is happening today inside. When it comes to the cap table, we also see that a lot, definitely, and not unique for Norway or the Nordics, I would say, but all over the place. And I get a lot of questions from founders as well, why it is important to us. And we invest, we can invest pre-revenue in deep tech companies or research projects if it's a senior team, they have IP or proprietary data or similar. Or we can go later up to Series A in the first investment if they have more commercial traction. And a lot of companies asked why us included, and a lot of other VCs are so obsessed with that. And for us, up until Series A, there's very little systemic value in a company. It's a lot of the value lies within the team and the people. And if the team are not then incentivized to do that long haul, it's very difficult to invest into it. And we also see a lot of those teams struggle when they reach Series A and the cap table has been diluted, that it will be very, very difficult to get international larger funds on board. So it's a double thing. We also see that there is a lot of companies have a broken cap table, as we call it, not because the other investors have been greedy, but it's also because they didn't know, or they needed to fundraise money, or they got a family office who helped them and backed them through several rounds, and so it's very often not like bad will, it's more that they were not aware.
So what do you do from your perspective when you see a broken cap table? Do you walk away, or do you contribute in a case that's interesting to see if they can solve it?
Well, both. We are pretty flexible, and I always like to contribute as well. So I'm always open to have the dialogue. But very often when it comes to that, it's not a case for us, right? So then it's more a case for maybe continue to fundraise from other, like VC is not the only mechanism, luckily. It's just one way of financing a company, right? But there is like corporate ventures, there are family offices, there are industrial players. There's a lot of different kind of investment types that they can go for, or they can try to fix it. Somehow it can be tricky to fix if it's come pretty far because of tax implications and other things for the founders. So, but we're always willing to have the dialogue for sure.
And I know that you invest in deep tech, early stage, pre-revenue, of course, because deep tech is typically very long.
Not always.
Yeah, always, of course. And also later stage, other types of startups as well. Now, looking at it from a health tech perspective, what would a startup think about contacting you? What would you be your sort of criteria for looking at a startup in health tech, early stage?
Yeah, so we only do software, deep tech and software, so that narrows it down to a lot of AI, algorithms, data play. We always look for if it's really pre-revenue and really deep tech, then we're looking for IPs or defendability in the data or proprietary data or uniqueness in that sense. If it's not real deep tech, like they don't have the IPs and things like that, that's also okay. But then we're definitely looking for operational excellence or execution and commercial traction. So to give one example, we invested recently, actually now it's 9 months ago, into a Spanish company called Sikai AI. They had been launched 4 years from a university project. When we invested, they had 15 people on the team, and no income whatsoever, but we're piloting with a large hospital in Spain. They did not have regulatory approval either, making algorithms to detect cancer in soft tissues in the upper side of the body. So we invested into them after verifying, of course, the data and the algorithms. 9 years down the month, they now have the CE mark, so they can start to commercialize, and they have the first hospitals onboarded. So that's one example more on the deep tech side. On the other side, that's a climate tech company, if you don't mind, but it's sort of similar because it's also algorithms. It's called Hulu AI. We were their first backers, student team out of university, but not a spin-off. No IPs, no seniors, nothing like that. We were the only and first backers in the company, so we invested around 400,000 euros in the first ticket. Now it's been 18 months, and they're now they just raised 2.5 million euros. They have been now having commercial clients, they launched their algorithms, they have pilots all over the world, and now starting to scale it. So we can also do that.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting what you said before, looking at the team, how important the team is. I hear when I speak to investors very often, they say product market fit is the most important thing, because otherwise you don't have anything to scale or sell. But how do you reach that? It's a process, right? And to be able to reach a product market fit, you need to have a team that can pivot and all the way think in new directions. So I can totally get that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Samuel Danielsson. You came all the way from Sweden, Örebro. Here today.
Yes, from Örebro, yeah.
You want to do a quick introduction yourself?
Yeah, my name is Samuel Danielsson. I've been working in the IT industry more or less all my life. Developer from the beginning, and then working with and running different IT consultancy businesses and stuff like that. So, and last like 8-9 years, I've been working with different kind of startups. With different hats, but right now I'm just wearing one hat, and that's the hard hat, the working hat. So I practically invest my time and some money into a couple of startups, and also working with them. I think that's the most efficient way, and also that's the most fun way to do this. So. Yeah.
And I know you have a technical background.
Yeah.
You've been working in technical consultancy for most of your career,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Done a couple of exits and stuff like that in consultancy. Yeah. So when you look at it from a technical perspective, what do you see is changing now? Typically, you have very technology-oriented entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
That could build rigid platforms that take a lot of time. Is that changing?
Yeah, from the AI perspective of things, I think there are two really important sort of changes for startups, and I think the whole ecosystem, especially around medtech. That is that it's going to be a lot more compliance, a lot more demand for explainable AI, a lot more demand for actually proving that the model are working, or you have to log and keep the logs for every run you have done, especially on a patient or on a participant in the study or something. You have to keep that so you can go back and sort of and do an audit and say that, okay, this model, the reasoning was, the parameters was this, and the reasoning inside the model was that. So I think that is, I mean, we haven't seen that. IT has been a black box for so many years, a black box with a bad UI. That's practically all the IT systems. So I think that is one of the biggest changes. But I mean, that's going to require a lot of more thinking, a lot of more tech, a lot of more lawyers working with developers side by side and stuff like that. So I mean, that's a big change. But the other big change I see is on the sort of the prototyping and the speed you can have to actually try different things. I think we only seen the beginning of that, of course, because I think the models have been so much better on this just the last couple of months. So that is going to be really interesting. But I think as a startup, you have to use that to your advantage to actually do more stuff to reach customers in different ways. You can use that to experiment a lot. I mean, you can sort of personalize this the experience, the buying experience, for instance, for each customer. I mean, that was practically impossible before, but now you are more or less required to do it. So I think that is the other big change.
And I know that when we are speaking, typically you say that entrepreneurs don't put enough time into value-creating activities. You spend a lot of time on something, but that is not necessarily equal to more value of the company. And in the program we have something called the investment readiness process, and in that process we look at value inflection points, and we link milestones to that, things you concretely have to do. Well, when you look at your perspective on value, what would you say is the important things you look at? How does an entrepreneur most efficiently create value in the company?
Yeah, I mean, at least that's my experience. I mean, you have like 100 different things that seems equally important and seems equally. I mean, but in my experience, it's only like 5 of them that actually are bringing value. So I think that one of the main activities you have to do as a startup is actually each week, each Monday morning, have that sort of meeting and try to find the 5 things that are important this time or this week, and sort of so and I think one of the most important things from sort of the technical side, especially if you're developing something that is going to be used in a technical way, I think you have to build the distribution channel into the actual solution. Okay. So you have that sort of coherence between the actual product and the distribution channel. And that is also one thing I believe that AI actually can help you with today. You can experiment, you can shape the distribution and the way you sell the product with AI. Okay. So I think that's.
Thanks, Samuel. We're going to move on to Mark. Now we've been talking about the product itself quite a lot, but I know that you focus a lot on business models and different way of delivering a product out to the market. Do you want to make a quick introduction as well of yourself, Mark?
Sure. So my name is Mark Willings. Working with the teams, so most of the teams I met. In my day job, so to speak, I run a small consultancy company on go-to-market strategy and execution. And at the moment I'm working quite a bit actually in health tech, working with a number of care institutions in the north of the Netherlands, trying to innovate in long-term care, which is an overlooked area. where you can make a lot of benefits. So that's pretty interesting. I'm excited about that. Back to your question.
Back to the question. I haven't actually asked it yet, but it's coming now. Talking about the SaaS model, software as a service, which has been pretty much the leading star or North Star for startups the last 10 years. It's pretty much under siege. Do you agree on that?
Absolutely.
And my question is it dying or is it taking a new shape? And I think that question can be open to all of you later because it's quite interesting question.
Yeah. So AI is a catalyst, right? And it's kind of the great equalizer when it comes to the old SaaS models and the profitability of SaaS and so on and so on. And especially when you look at agentic AI and the solutions that you see for agentic AI. And then if you look back at what we were offered as investors from startups, it was a lot of agentic AI-like solutions, little systems, point systems that could do something. And that can be replaced nowadays, any minute if you want. So a lot of the mode that we used to work with is currently no longer there. And at the same time, because we now start understanding what AI really means because of AI coming into your daily life, basically, with generic AI, you also see that the whole mystification of AI is now gone. I remember vividly 8 years ago investing in a startup that was claiming that it used AI to create a taste palette so that you can pick the right craft beers. And that was a big thing. And the company still exists, but it's just a retail outlet for beer. That's it, right? So the whole AI demystification is now also happening. So that's actually great. SaaS in itself is just a business model. So let's forget about SaaS for a minute, but look at what you can actually offer. And Steinar already said customer intimacy is going to be really important moving forward. And I actually picked an old sticker that I used to have on my laptop and removed it. And now I put it back on again, and that's love the problem, not the solution. So focus on what you're actually solving, and then look at models that actually put a number on the impact that you make. And if you stay on that course, then you're pretty safe. Yeah.
Anyone wants to expand on the SaaS question here? Do you all agree it's under siege? Yeah? Steinar as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Do you want to expand on it? Yeah. Can give it to Steinar.
I think you mentioned the business model. I think your typical SaaS model is that you have a subscription service that you can, predict into the future, and you have a new sales rate, and you have a churn rate, and then you have your revenues going forward, which is a linear model, even though you might be expanding quite rapidly. But with AI, that model turns into an exponential situation. What can you prove and what can you deliver as, for value today and in the next maybe 3 months, 6 months, because in 6 months all these models will be more advanced, and the basic functionality that you might sell to a company where you integrate it to something else might become totally generic off-the-shelf solution. So as a startup, what position shall you take? And technology leadership in itself is no longer a viable strategy. It used to be that, because you could always stay ahead of the generic solutions of Microsoft or others, but nowadays you need to rethink that whole value prop. And that means that the benefit of the larger SaaS models is that they have the customers, so they have the data flow. That's where you can train your algorithm. So in a similar panel debate, I heard someone saying that now we're looking at the revenge of the incumbents, because they have the static large customers that don't churn, where all the data resides. You need to unpack that data and get it out through APIs into your startup and use it for the specific intimate customer solution that you're trying to build.
Right, thank you, and thank you, Mark, for your comments. And then we have you, Valeria, left
Hello.
here as well. Hey, do you want to make a quick introduction yourself?
Yes, my name is Valeria Temple. Thank you for having me again. And I am an executive from Silicon Valley, where I have built my career for a couple of years, heading SaaS, ERP, telecom companies, business development teams. And as it often happens when you're at the top of your game, all of a sudden I got infected with the founder bug. Like many of you here, probably at some point. And Yeah, and I jumped ship. I started building my own companies, and I joined different startups at different stages. From the Nordic hemisphere, you probably know the company named Skype. I worked for them at the headquarters in Luxembourg, and also supporting the ecosystem there. So basically, I've been in those trenches for many years. Now I'm between Silicon Valley and Norway, mostly spending my time in Norway. I'm a private investor in different companies, and in Oslo, I am part of WIN Ventures, which is the first and only women fund, and where we would like to make a difference. It is a passion of me. I think women should have a say what the technology, what the future is gonna look like, because we can vote with our voices. And this is why we need to teach women how to invest in really cool startups. So, and yes, and this is
awesome. I know that you've been working a lot internationally in different markets and different companies. You're used to taking an idea out from the native local domestic market out to international markets. And of course, here in Norway, we are in a small market. Even Nordics are quite small market. So we have to think about how can we go out there and find bigger markets. So what would you be looking at when assessing startups in terms of having a readiness for globalization? What factors would be important to be able to succeed on a global scale?
Well, very good question. Thank you. And it's a very important when I look at the investment, the startup has to have a global outlook, that they have to, from the beginning, the product should have been built with the idea that it will be used all over the world. And when I look at the company itself, of course, it's a team. How flexible are they? How adaptable are they? And how ready are they for the market they're planning to go to? Do they know the regulations, especially if we're talking about health tech? This is a lot of local regulations. And this is a very important thing. So the two very important things that I'm looking at is their readiness, the team, and the people that will deploy in those markets.
Do you think the AI technology will make it easier to access international markets than traditionally?
Well, AI technology probably will make it easier because it's helping us in all kinds of different areas. And yes, as an investor, if the companies have to have some kind of an angle with AI, some kind of a help there. But however, as an investor, it's very difficult to know what it's going to be in the future. So definitely AI will help teams to make sure that they're repeatable, they're creating a repeatable business. Right? That you prove in your local market, you show that it is a great success with AI, with whatever solution that you have. Because AI are not only the solutions out there, there's a lot more problems we have to solve. But prove it in your local market and be ready and show that you know very well those markets that you're going to. Culturally, it is very important. You have to understand the culture of the new market. As close as we are between Norway and US, my gosh, this is a completely different mindset. I cannot imagine purely American company coming in. We had this small situation where the American the executive came and tried to get investors. And basically the investor said, get that woman off my back. She is too aggressive. I don't want to deal with her. But this is American way, right? And she's successful in US. But here we had to kind of stop her from contacting investors in Norway. So that's what I'm saying. It is so important, the cultural intelligence of the team, if you're going to international markets. For you guys too, if you're going to India,
Yeah, you better be very prepared.
We have some with us here, so we'll take all the advice we can get. Thank you very much, Valerie.
Yeah,
Thank you. I think we all had good and interesting aspects on AI, how it impacts us in any way from the investor perspective. I have one last question. I'll leave it open, so any one of you can answer if you want. And it goes to, in what sense AI will impact the startups? Because we're talking about AI natives, startups that are built from an AI core. And most of us, we have a startup and then we retrofit it into a solution. So how do you look at that from the investor perspective? Anyone wants to take that question? Lynn Cecilia.
Thank you. I can take one example from our portfolio. It's a Dutch company called Senexus. It's on the climate smart city space rather than health, but it might as well have been health. But they came with no legacy. We invested less than a year ago. They're now approaching about 1 million euro in ARR. And what they're doing, they're building digital twins of cities, but they're using the GPU instead of the CPU. It comes out of research, and they just won a large contract in the UK with the Authority of Transportation, throwing out one of the largest software vendors in the world. So it's quite sensational. And the reason is that those large legacy systems, they can't change that quickly. And even if when they change and start to use the GPU, they only get like 20-30% increased efficiency. Well, this company built it from the bottom up with AI and different use of the technology, which means that it's very difficult for legacy systems to compete with them. So I think that's also an example of disruption rather than improvement that you can't do within a large corporate. A small team, 5 people. Now they're growing, obviously, rapidly. but yeah, a super success story.
I think that's really, really interesting. Thank you very much, all of you, for your valuable inputs. Big applause to all the investors. We will meet you very soon because we're going to let the startups come here now and present to you. And then we'll let each startup get a few questions, 2 questions each. So from all of you, so 2 questions per startup, and then you can actually decide yourself who wants to comment. I know that, Lynn Cecilia, you need to leave, but we have Jörn coming in, so he will take over. Yeah. I also have one of our analysts here. Yeah. The startups are sitting there instead. Perfect. Oh, okay, very good, awesome. All right. Okay, so thank you all, guys. And yeah, let's move on, Stefan.
Yeah, we just wanted to give the investor and business angels and corporate people here in the panel some cinnamon roll true dates. You know, in Sweden we always have fika, you know, but we don't have any, you know, cinnamon balls here, so we have dates instead. So for you, you can share it on the team here, you know. So, but of course, we want to give all of you the cinnamon balls, so you can use the rest of the session here.
We want you to stay awake, basically.
Yeah, we want you to stay awake. Are you ready? Yeah. So please share this with your friends and family and fools around you, and keep up the energy until later.
And hi, Victor. Thank you for the idea, actually, because we got this from A-Match when you were throwing around the drinks. Remember that?
Lars. Yes, Lena.
Okay, so let's move on to the highlight of the show.
Oh yeah. First up, we have a company that was previously called Propeller Hat, and now they shortened the name to Pro Hat. I will never remember that, but now I did, so that's great. We will have an amazing founder here who's actually been on the ground in her field and seen what needs to be done. And she's done it together with a superb team. This is a really international opportunity, but also team and founder that you're going to meet. So, with no further ado, just welcome Erika Bons from ProHat.
Big applause.
Big applause.
It's Friday evening. It's cold. It's dark. The patients are dwelling in to the pre-waiting area. There's a line to the triage. I am the medical doctor responsible for all of these patients, and I don't even know whom of these children are the sickest one and would need care right now. All of the children I've already sent to X-ray or labs. I have no idea how long it's going to take until I will get the results. And when I actually decide to admit a patient, I have to sit on the phone and make calls and calls to each ward to try to find a bed for this patient. At the same time, ambulances are coming and I should actually be in the acute room. I think to myself, why on earth am I the chief doctor here? Can we really call this patient safety? It doesn't have to be this way. At ProHat's Command Center, we have created a SaaS solution that takes data that they already have at the hospital, but that is hidden into the different solutions that they are using. We are integrating these data points with a certified interoperability platform, and we are mirroring this data into dashboards that gives everyone on the floor real-time data, information, what's going on in their organization. At the same time, AI is analyzing the data and can give heads up on what's happening. ProHat's Command Center goes from chaos to order by organizing the data. Okay, so what have we done? We have this solution that is already up and running, but it's not only for one emergency room, it's actually for the whole hospital. What we do is that we take all of the different data silos that we have, not just the EHR, not just the X-ray system or the new apps for triage or home monitoring, but actually also economy system or HR system, and we take all of these data points so we can run the whole organization in an efficient way. That means that from top management looking down at the whole hospital or even regional level, we can know what's going on, not just send reports a month or even 3 months later. So what have we done? We have 2 clients at this time. One is Martina Children's Hospital in Stockholm with 10 outpatient clinics. We thought that we would be discussing with 1 outpatient clinic or 1 ER at the time, but the regions actually love our solution and we are already discussing on director level with regions. The potential is huge. Everyone understands that this is the future and we need this. The timing is now, because now we have so many solutions and so many systems that we need to combine these. The modern healthcare does not actually continue clicking and digging after data as we used to do. So worldwide, this is something that's happening. And Why us? I myself, medical doctor, pediatrician, have been working as a chief medical officer in different international EHR companies, and I am the youngest one in my team. We've been working together almost 10 years, and the rest of my team, all of them have more than 20 years experience from healthcare digitalization in international companies. So we have one mathematician that runs the AI part. Everything I say from a clinical perspective, he puts into the solution. Then we have our economic guy that has done all the thousands of KPIs that are ready for the hospitals. He's also the management consultant running pushing forward also the partnerships. Then of course we have our CTO that was coding EHRs even before I was born, but he's been moving up with the pace. And why are we here? We are today asking for 3 to 5 million Swedish kronors and for a partner. To make our vision come true, we need to optimize healthcare by using the data that we actually have and go from chaos to structure also in the data. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Erika. Let's start. Who wants to start from the investor panel here to ask a question? Yes, Valerie?
Very good solution, it seems like. What is your big vision for your system?
Our big vision is to run, I say, that we start with a hospital. We are now discussing a regional level, but we are actually also discussing with all the regions. Let us look down to the whole country. What if the crisis comes? We need to know each and every bed in our entire country. That is the situation today with the ICU beds. It's the same situation when the crisis comes. That's only for Sweden. Of course, we are also already looking at internationalization.
All right. Next.
I love your value proposition and the fact that you are so data-driven. But you are also challenging a lot of norms, procedures, and existing system vendors. Yes. What's their response to your proposition?
They are very much welcoming us. The situation right now, we come from EHR background. We know that there has been a history of locking in the data in the EHR, but we also have, and my research background in publishing is actually open EHR. So we also know that this is looking forward to the future. Everyone's starting to understand that the future is that not one single solution can solve everything a hospital will need. So we have all of these specialty programs, and that is why we are going to use interoperability and actually make a bigger view of this.
Thank you. So we said 2 questions from the panel, but does anyone has any comment or just quick thought from the panel based on this? Or the audience, just a quick comment. So,
do you need MDR for this?
Do you need MDR? Is the question?
A very, very good question. Thank you for that one. So the InterSystems interoperability platform Iris is already certified for integrating the data, so that is fine. Then when it comes to mirroring the data that the region, the hospital already owns, that is fine. When we talk about MDR, as soon as we talk AI, of course we talk to a class. And here we can say it's all depending on the intended use. As long as the intended use will be the overall picture for the CEO, the board, the politicians, or the labor, that will be fine. When we go down on the floor and start saying the intended use will be that the nurse actually will know which of the patients to put on which ward, of course we will do an MDR classification when it comes to handling patient data. Yes.
Great answer. Thank you, Erika, and a big hands for Propeller Hat.
Okay, next up, we're moving all the way to India, to the Delhi area. and we have a company here that are digitizing access to data in hospitals. Please welcome Pranay from Akigo.
Thank you, everyone. Nice presentation, Erika. Just to give you a background, last Thursday in one of the hospitals in central Delhi, the simple blood report became a 48-hour scavenger hunt. The patient's reports were lost, the prescriptions were not in track, the receipts were given to someone else, part of the reports were missing from one person to another person, few reports were handed over to a lab report person, few others were given to the relatives. All this has happened and nobody really knew what kind of a medical report, which was critical, was really missing. This type of experience where healthcare is breaking in a small but a longer and a dangerous way is the reason why we have built Akigo. At Akigo, we are creating a unified layer where the intelligence, FHIR format, consent all come together. Because if a single blood report cannot be controlled by a patient, just imagine what will happen if there is a chronic care or emergency medical care which needs to be handled. So throughout Asia and Asia Pacific and India, most of the healthcare systems are digitizing. None of those are connecting. So insurers have their portals, hospitals have their portals, the government hospitals will have their own separate portals. All of these are different portals and patients are struggling in the middle, trying to connect between the one hospital to another hospital. At Akigo, we are bringing in all these together. So the broken healthcare records leads to a variety of problems. Some of the problems are healthcare records not maintained well, the lab reports are not really tracked, higher out-of-pocket spending just because the same blood report is done several times, and really the policy makers are not getting the real-time value, real-time understanding what exactly is happening. Our answer to the entire problem is Akigo. Akigo is a unified digital layer where we have built the singular platform of connecting the consent-first, FHIR-driven, data-secure mobile application. Now in this mobile application, the Akigo gives the entire control to the consumer, to the patients. So patients will be able to handle the entire data, the medical records, as well as the Akigo will also have some of the AI-based layers where they will understand what kind of insights are needed, where the reports are missing, all those inputs will be given. Again, at Akigo, we are building the different formats where the healthcare records will be at the center. The access to the insurers will be again in singular app. It has a compliance or the data first part. Now, if you see the India as well as Asia Pacific, most of the healthcare systems, the national priority is digitizing their healthcare systems. Most of these are building several of the layers such as the digital health lockers, the eKYC, as well as ABDM, which is the national health FHIR format standards. Now, at this particular stage, there is a lack of a consumer grade intelligence for the insurance companies, and the gap between the infrastructure and the reality is where Akigo wins. At present, the market size. Now in India as well as Asia Pacific, the combined total addressable market is around $14 billion, out of which Akigo will be targeting the tier 1, tier 2 digital health partners, some of the insurers, and mostly the millions of consumers. Our entire business model revolves around the B2B SaaS model, where we have commissions. Some of the commissions are coming from the partners, hospital integrations, as well as the premium consumer layer where all the insights will be given directly to the patients. Our current standing is the first phase where we have the core MVP developed. In this core MVP, with one of the partners which we have, there are a couple of hospitals where we are doing the pilot currently. These partners, along with the hospital pipelines what we have, we are confident enough to have the scaling of the entire platform very quickly. At present, we are asking for 550,000 euros for integration as well as pilot scaling and testing our validations in ground, where we are trying to reduce the misplaced reports as well as some of the times at the hospitals which is spent on collecting the data and the reports. Why us? So in our team, we have the clinical medicine specialty. We have a lot of insurance specialties where we have operated and scaled up intelligence layers at the ABDM in the variety of geographies, starting with Asia Pacific, India, as well as the MEA market. We have built the systems like this before. We know the problem, we know the solutions, and we are building the standards for it. Again, at the healthcare, the patient should not struggle. They should not lose the reports which are important at a critical stages. The hospitals, the physician should not continue to track the reports which are important in making decisions, as well as the insurer should not delay the claim processing. So at Akigo, we are building that layer where unified, intelligent medical reports are coming at hand on the patient's mobile application. Okay. Let's make healthcare unified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Regina, I think you will start here. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for a very good presentation. You address something really important. I wanted to give you the opportunity to describe a little bit more your ambitions and your plans on your different partnering and go-to-market strategies, because this is very large and complex. One thing is, building a system that can unify data on the hospital and patient side. That is a massive thing. And then it's your B2B partnering strategy and you're piloting there, also a massive thing. And then insurer integration, which is also a massive, massive thing. To me, almost 3 entirely different go-to-market plans and strategies. So maybe describe that a little bit more.
Sure, good question, Regina. So the first thing which we are doing is we are phasing it out. In the phase 1, we are very focused on building the scan and share, which is a QR code service where the patients will be able to geolocation wise understand which are the services which they can utilize. The second layer will be the health locker, where with the FHIR format and the consent driven format, the healthcare records will be shared between different healthcare providers. That is our phase 1. In phase 2 is where we are targeting the other partners, where insurance is coming, variety of wellness solutions will be coming. That is in our phase 2. So currently we are focused very much on the phase 1. In first 15 months, that's the maximum timeline what we have. 6 to 8 months is entire duration where we'll run the pilots with first 2 hospitals. On Monday itself, we had a very good conversations with 20 plus hospitals CEO. So we'll be having a conversation later on once we go back. So again, very much targeted on the phase 1 currently. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Regina. Now we've been on this side of the panel. Should we move to this side? Who wants to get started?
Sure,
Mark?
sure.
Yeah.
I would like to understand a little bit more, indeed, if we go a little bit deeper into your GTM, your go-to-market.
Yep.
So you also talked about Southeast Asia. To what extent are you looking at localization and local regulations and local practices and integrations that you need to do, and how are you going to tackle that?
Absolutely. So thanks for that question, Mark. So currently we are in talks with Philippines. That's one of our area of interest, as well as Vietnam. These are the 2 areas where we are studying in deep. At present, we have our entire product team, which is building the product. There are a couple of guys who are more of a compliance people, legal and compliance people. They are learning currently GDPR is the clause which we follow here in Europe. We have DPDP back in India. We have PDPD in Vietnam. We have another different in Philippines. So all these are basic norms of data sharing is almost similar. Localization of data in that geography is something which is again on-prem devices or on-prem deployment of the entire solution is something which will help in that region. We will go for a regional partnerships. So currently I'm in talk with one of the partner in the Philippines. So once we have these regional partnerships, we'll study the compliance part, the regulatory part, and then deploy this. Mostly because these are PHR, patient health record applications, the compliances are not really that complex like MDR or medical devices. Those are not really something which will hamper us. It's only the DPDP or data privacy related compliances which we'll have to follow. Yeah.
We are ahead of time, so I think actually we have time for a third question. If anyone, Jörn, for example, or Samuel wants to have a go. Anyone of you? Yeah.
Just a quick, could you expand on the sort of the market size of this, because it sounds really big. It sounds like it's a lot of money.
Very. So Samuel, good question. So the entire presentation, I was planning to have 2 separate segregations. One is the total addressable market, then the really obtainable market. which in the first 3 to 5 years, we are targeting only up to 3 million euros as a target. We have tier 1, tier 2 cities, which are identified in India, where we will be scaling this product. So currently, very limited area where 3 to 5 million is something which we are targeting for next 3 to 5 years. Yeah. So again, a bigger market, but yeah, I'll go more deeper on individual levels.
I think, John, you were going for the mic, right? So let's do it.
I think at this point we might be overextending this this bit, but I appreciate any effort to go as to the core as possible. So rather than talking about the large potential market, talk about the one customer that has to have this right now. And if you can paint a clearer picture on that customer in general, I would say that's attractive for any investor who's going to carry this round.
Absolutely. Thanks for that comment. I'll explain more on my current partnerships. So I have one particular hospital which is based out of Chandigarh. It's one of the city in northern part of India. They have two hospitals. One is a super specialty hospital, other one is a general hospital. That's one partner in one geography. The other partner is mostly central government hospital, which is based out of Odisha, which is another state. That hospital has a footfall of a very high number of patients. It's again government facility, so it has 3,000 to 5,000 people coming in every day. So even if I really successfully implement there, I have tons of people using the application as well as the data from them. So just two areas I will be focusing, not really distracting currently. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Pranay.
Thank
awesome.
You. Thank you.
Yes, so we will go back to Sweden now and to Gothenburg and talk to a gentleman here who has actually gone through from ID to actually scaling. First from our innovation support program that we have to our incubator, and now also from the accelerator side. So welcome Daniel, and a big hands for Care Logic.
Thank you. So hello everybody. The image to the right is an emergency bag used by paramedics. The second row contains controlled drugs. Controlled drugs are substances that are regulated by law due to the risk of abuse. So we just launched LogMed. It's a digital platform that makes controlled drug management more secure and more efficient. So controlled drugs are typically managed in a non-digital environment. In Sweden, we have approximately 1,400 SKUs where regulations are met by registering and signing stock transactions on paper. This is done in around 33,000 stores locations and handled by 114,000 users. So the problem is multi-dimensional. First, there are loads of inventory discrepancies due to mistakes and theft. This year, Sahlgrenska University Hospital alone have identified almost 200 incidents of controlled drugs inventory shrinkage that needs to be further investigated. Second point, compliant fieldwork and incident investigations are time consuming. It can take days to backtrack one single incident. And thirdly, audit findings that do require manual actions are not uncommon. So this all leads to an increased workload on already overburdened staff, potentially contributing to burnout and definitely leading to operational inefficiency. Having a system that lacks in control can lead to can trigger drug addiction and maintain it, leading to immense personal tragedies. And the combination of inventory discrepancies with staff that are addicted will further increase patient risks. So there is a definite need for a system that can provide better control in more secure and efficient ways. So we decided to act upon this, and we developed LogMed. It consists of two parts: a native app for fieldwork, where nurses will register stock transactions and inventory takings, And then we have a web application for management, where they will do admin configuration, have access to traceability reports, real-time incident notifications, as well as replenishment suggestions to simplify inventory management. So we launched our MVP end of summer, and we are in positive dialogue with 4 health regions in Sweden, 1 municipality and 1 animal hospital. We have ongoing trials at the elderly care facility and at the primary care unit, and we are right now in the process of onboarding our first paying customer. It's an ambulance organization with 240 users. We have a subscription-based revenue model where the caregiver pays a base price for the installation, and then we have fees for premium and basic services depending on the number of users and storage locations. We assess the obtainable market in Sweden to be about 4 million euros. This is based on a 6% market penetration into the available market. Many countries have the same requirements or needs as Sweden. For example, all of the Nordics, where we do believe we can get annual recurring revenues of 10 million euros. Andreas and I, as co-founders, have the relevant expertise from healthcare systems development, system implementations, supply chain, and software sales. We have complemented the team with a full-stack developer, Sia, and with Jonathan focusing on customer success. So what we ask for today is an investment of 200,000 euros. This will be invested in marketing and sales, implementations and support, and product development, and it will give us a positive cash flow within 2 years. Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you. Okay.
Thank you. So who would like to start here? And I know, Jörn, you arrived a little bit late here and joined the panel, so maybe just a quick introduction to who you are so that the audience knows.
Yeah, you're an investor, founder. I'm enthusiastic about tech, I guess. That's my background. And one thing I often talk about with founders is the serviceable market that you talk about. You indicate 6% here. I would rather want to know what kind of market you can take 30% of, 40% of.
Yeah.
Like to go even further to the core of this thing. Not who's this going to be nice for, but who is desperately in need of and will buy whatever crappy level product you have right now, expecting that it will be better later, but still accepting the unrefined qualities of a startup.
Yeah.
What's that customer?
Yeah. So if we sub-segment the healthcare sector, pre-hospital market is a big one. That's where we experience a pull right now, and we expect in the Swedish market to capture 70 to 90% within the next few years, and that will be similar for the Nordics. And then next year we will do a global expansion strategy to see what that means for India, US, rest of Europe, and so on.
All right. Next up, Valerie.
Thank you. I never thought that it is a problem. This is like the first time How do you handle the regulatory compliance, data security, and all that?
So data security is not really an issue. It's GDPR, and it's either staff data or patient data. We don't need any MDR compliance for this. So I would say regular GDPR work. Yeah.
All right.
Quickly and related to that, I think when you don't have control of inventory, you have a financial loss, but there might be some regulatory requirements that you don't meet, so you might lose your license. So it's of critical, operational nature what you're actually addressing. Is that the case?
Well, the regulations is by law. It's Socialstyrelsen in Sweden. And we don't see any big fines for non-compliance, unfortunately. If we could fix that, that would be great. Okay. Yeah.
I have more of a commercial question.
Yes.
How do you know that the business model that you're currently using is the best one?
We don't.
Have you considered any other?
We have. Right now we've tested this and we have, where we're doing the trials, we have upfront told them what it will cost and they have swallowed the bait. The ambulance organization, when we first came to them, they said we want a 6-month trial. When we left, they said we want to start next year. Last week they came back and said we want to start in December. So empirically, we have a revenue model that works, but we're open for other ideas as well, of course. Maybe we're taking too little revenue since they're so eager.
Because is your inkling that you're a little bit, are they too eager to pay, or is your pricing too generous, or could you increase the pricing?
Could be.
Is there more of an appetite there?
Could be. We will do some A and B testing.
Interesting.
I'll see what happens.
Yeah, you two could discuss this a little bit more later.
It could also be interesting for insurance. One case, if a region has to send someone to rehab, it will cost them easily 15,000 euros. So,
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
And everybody.
All right, we're getting closer to halfway through the cohort. And the next company is from Sweden as well. They're from Karlstad, in fact. And they've actually been through this whole system that you see here now. The first is innovation support started by Lina. Hi, Lina, wave your hand. You've been up on stage already. She actually came up with this throughout the pandemic to help startups with ideas, ad hoc services, before we have a structured incubator. Then, of course, they've been through the incubator program and now the accelerator. So we think it's extra interesting to welcome MediQ. Welcome, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? I guess so. Yes? Perfect. All right. We want to improve the efficiency in emergency healthcare. Short and concise. So, the problems that we are experiencing, as probably a lot of you here are familiar with, are problems with full waiting rooms. We have long waiting times. The medical staff is stressed and overworked. Reduced access to resources and so on. The visits they increase by approximately 10% each year. The resources decrease by approximately 10% each year. This is not math that will work in the long run, right? So we have to do something, and compensation by human efforts, for example, might not be the only solution or the best solution, or even a possibility. So we want to, with our application, we want to allow a patient that is in need of emergency care to wait from wherever they want. And by doing that, hopefully we will have no full waiting rooms, unless there are in a lot of help, of course. This will also mean that the risk of spreading infections is reduced, which is a lot of people are very keen on this after COVID-19. You don't want to get something that you shouldn't get. Digital solutions such as ours also means that we don't have to repeat the patient history, what they have written, what they already said, because it will already be in the hands of the healthcare workers after the system has been used. By staying short at the hospital, the risk of complications are also reduced. And then we have elderly patients, for example, that are our most dear patients and patient groups that are even more prone to these problems and okay, I lost my word. Let's continue. So the ER experience, or the emergency room experience, for the staff will actually mean that they will only spend a maximum of 30 minutes on administrative tasks. By doing that, they can spend more time on the work that they actually are supposed to do, or are qualified to do, or are best at. And the calculations that we have created show that we can have facility and other costs, saving of these costs for up to 10 million Swedish kronor per hospital on a yearly basis. And by utilizing the digital solution we have created, we will be able to distribute the patients between doctors at the hospital, but also different hospitals or emergency rooms within an entire region. And by doing that, of course, the pressure will decrease on the really big and full facilities. You see here what the patient might see. So the first 3 screens are about describing symptoms. It's about seeing which facilities are adapted to actually take care of the symptoms that you have specified. The amount of people in the queue, so you can make an informed decision. I would rather go to the one with 0 people rather than the 2, for example. And afterwards, you have a dynamic time. After you've been triaged, you have a dynamic time that can go up if more severe people, of course, enter the emergency room, but it can also decrease if more doctors or other resources are available all of a sudden. So this can fluctuate up and down. And this means that you can wait somewhere else for approximately 160 minutes, which is a lot of time. We have 2 patient journeys. One is from the patient perspective, the top one, and the bottom one is from the healthcare perspective. And we can see here on the top section how the journey would look by utilizing Mediq and what it looks today. And the same, of course, from the healthcare perspective. And the respective length of stay that you have to be at the hospital and what we do to and how we reduce that. For example, between 210 to 440 minutes. So the progress, 2023 we started, like David mentioned, we started on the innovation idea, validating that idea. We created a prototype, we let some users test it, we iterated on it, updated it based on feedback, and now we have been running and we will soon run additional pilot tests. So the region of Värmland, where the first 2 phases has been conducted, are finalized, and the third one will hopefully start now after Christmas leave. This will include the entire region and also patients this time. Previously it was only healthcare staff. This will enable us, of course, to test the Mediq app from the patient's perspective, but also the entire system. We have 5 regions that are keen to testing within their regions, and they are kind of waiting for the third phase to be over and to get the results from that, but then they are ready to go, more or less. Yet another SaaS model, right? Here is a projection or an estimation of the coming years. We think that the model is based on prepaying from the hospital side based on the last year's amount of visits, and we take a cut from each visit or amount of each visit, and then we subtract from that subscription, basically. The target market here in Sweden, we kind of divide it into 3 different ones, so small, medium and large, just for the amount of visits and hospitals in each region. But we have over 1.5 million emergency visits each year, or 2024 at least, increasing by 10% each year, right? Over 1,200 emergency wards. Internationally, looking at Nordics and UK, if we scale this, we have 100 million potential citizens that we can reach with this solution. The founder, myself, and another co-founder, Mark, and then we have moved the medical doctor and the one working on the ground that have seen these problems firsthand. And me and Mark are tech guys that have previous medical experience as well in startups. We ask for 1.5 million kronor. This will go towards these 4 things, mainly the pilot testing, because that's when we know we will get the best data, and these all regions are not as kind as Värmland, for example, so you have to sometimes support or bring your own money, so to speak, to the pilot tests. Of course, patenting and brand protection, improving algorithms, and sales and marketing. Let us improve the efficiency in healthcare and do it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I see the microphone is over here now. Mark, do you want to get started?
Yeah, I first need to ask a very specific question to understand your solution best. So when you show those screens, you do some input. You have an input screen.
Let's go back.
Yeah, here.
Yes.
Third screen, you have an input.
Yes.
Who actually prioritizes?
So there's no prioritization in terms of this screen. So this is the patient that evaluates. Okay, I have a broken finger, for example. I have a fracture, etc. Then we have different facilities that treat these kind of symptoms, and they will show up there. You will still, of course, need to do triaging when you actually get to the hospital itself, because we don't have control over that, and we don't have the medical expertise, and we don't aim to do that now in the beginning. So you go to the hospital, they have your information beforehand, they simply do the triaging without asking all of the questions that you already said, and then they put either blue or green or yellow, orange or red color on you.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was the last thing, was what I needed.
Yes.
So what is the value discussion you're having with hospital ER situation? Because I see a pricing model,
yes,
but I would like to really understand, it's much more important to understand what is the actual value they say you provide to them, because that's where the key lies in this solution.
Yes. So the first two tests where there were people working at the hospital that performed these tests. They mentioned, and probably the most important thing is that they feel like this will bring them a lot less stress in their environment, because there won't be as many people waiting in the waiting room, asking them questions. When is it my turn? Why I'm not getting help, etc., and sitting there. And also the preventive aspect of decreasing infections, for example. I mean, if you have one patient is sitting in the waiting room and another guy is coming in with an infection that's contagious, the hospital will of course have a lot more issues if that keeps on spreading, right? So then you enable people to make the decision by themselves to not be there, for example. And also, of course, having some information beforehand in terms of what symptoms, their descriptions, their kind of sensed severity. Because then they can ask the follow-up questions very specifically, instead of all this general talk, which is not always the best start.
Okay, Mark, you happy? Okay, can we move on? All right. Samuel, I saw that, Jan, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So the absolute insanity of the situation you are describing is sort of like a Soviet-era grocery store, where the problems are they're so unfathomable for people on the outside of the industry, which then begs the question: by simply offering that solution, who are you talking to that would be incentivized to actually help grab a value here? Like I would argue that there's tons of value to be captured. Just it's spread across a system that is so thoroughly screwed that it's hard to see exactly who you're going to charge and in which way. Everyone agrees this is just, well, it's beyond description.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. I would think, or we are thinking, that the hospital is really keen on trying to get a handle of the situation in some way, and we feel like this is quite a narrow solution in that sense, and it's very narrowly focused on helping one situation, instead of having other big actors trying to do everything at the same time that we have mentioned, or that we know have failed quite recently. But we think that the patients might have, or me as a patient, I would really like to not be at the hospital waiting, for example. But I won't be the paying customer in the start, right? So the hospital is, we hope, we think, we've heard that it's very interesting for them. Then we'll have to figure out all the details, but that's a future problem.
I think we have time for one more question somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, just a quick one. I think you were mentioning UK on the somewhere on the slides.
Yeah.
Have you identified any competitors in the UK market? Because I think I've seen this solution in the UK actually.
Oh, that's very interesting, because we have actually engaged with with a group of people that are working with NHS.
Right.
So we're actually having meetings in upcoming weeks to try and get a pilot test in Birmingham done within 5 clinics. Approximately 11 million people that go there or visits. And what we heard from them is that they are missing this solution. That might be a Birmingham issue or Midlands region issue, but so I haven't heard the same story that you.
I mean, it makes it. We can talk later, but I think it makes it much more interesting because in UK you don't have that different regions.
Exactly.
Different.
Yeah. But in USA there are these kind of similar solutions that we know are already out in. Can probably vouch for that, having lived there. So we see that there is a need globally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. So just a question to you all. How many of you know someone, or perhaps you have this personal problem by yourself with pimples? Maybe a teenager or someone that you know, or very personal, and so on. And who's lying, you know? Yeah, staying there is lying. Yeah. So this is a huge problem and very difficult for many teenagers, especially, but also their parents. When we met this guy and his team, we just fell like, I don't know the word in English, furor in Swedish. You fell like a tree, you know, when you cut it. And we said, we need to work with these guys. So, and also the Radio Värmland people that we talked to love this solution. So I'm really interested to hear what you're saying now. So let's go to Stockholm and meet Dr. Hud himself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a very nice intro. Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Linus. I run drwho.se, and I'm here to talk about how we can solve the most common health problem among teenagers and young adults in Sweden, Norway, and also in Europe. For me, this is personal. When my sister Sofia turned 14 years old, she developed severe acne. She stopped wanting to go to school. She stopped going to parties. She even stopped meeting friends. This impacted not only her grades and personal relationship, but her whole outlook on life. Unfortunately, Sofia is not alone. Acne is the most common health problem among young people in the Western world. 4 out of 5 people will experience acne in some sort during their life. The big problem is among the 1 out of 5 that develop severe acne. With severe acne, that will usually cover your whole face. That you will think about every hour, sometimes every minute of your life until it's solved. The problem with severe acne is also that it doesn't go away just by itself. It will stay there until you treat it. People with severe acne don't just stay home more from school or work, don't just stay away from relationships. These scars are mental, and they will stay with these people for life. The scars are also physical. Within a month after a severe acne outbreak, scarring begins. And those scars, if left untreated, will also last with these patients for life. I'm not here to tell you about some miracle drug, because that miracle drug is actually already here. The problem here is distribution. If this is diagnosed correctly early enough, there is medication. And these severe acne patients can usually be not only treated, but completely cured within 6 months. When people come to our company, drwho.se, many of them have been fighting acne for 10 years. This is a system error. They've been bounced around between different entities in the care system because of a wrong diagnosis and lack of knowledge. Even when the correct diagnosis is set, in Sweden, the waiting time to meet the dermatologist to start a treatment can be up to 2 years. So people tend to give up. That's why this became personal for us. So we teamed up with some operators and dermatologists from Sweden to create the world's first truly scalable problem to not only treat these patients but to cure them. Within Acne-programmet and Dr. Hud, we've now treated more than 800 patients during the last year. All of these patients we've started within 24 hours. All of these patients have either been completely cured or are on their way to be completely cured after 1 or 2 treatments. Our system, our solution is already now nationwide. It's completely digital and no physical meeting is needed between the patient nor the doctor. The reason why I call it scalable is that a doctor-patient interaction at Dr. Hud versus in physical inpatient care takes about 1/10 of the time. That's why the patients that we treat don't crowd out other skin issues like melanomas or eczemas or psoriasis. Since we take away the physical meetings, we actually free up times for doctors so that they can give access to more people with other dermatological conditions. And most of our patients are treated 100% asynchronically, meaning that the doctors can handle them when there is a gap in their normal schedules. We've already tested and built our systems. It's now loved by patient, doctors, and parents, and more than 70% of our patients come by recommendation from another friend or parent or school nurse. We made it accessible throughout Sweden, and now we're looking into expanding into new markets. We're eyeing those markets where distribution is easiest. We're now looking into Norway, Denmark, but also other countries beyond. And my sister, well, today she has 99 problems, but acne is not one of them. She came back to school. She finished top of her class. She's now in a normal relationship with her friends and boyfriend, and she's partying more than I've ever done. We're not looking mainly for money today with the pitch. We're already profitable, but we're looking for strategic partners that can help us make our distribution more effective so that we can reach more patients faster because it's needed. We're also looking for country managers in the Nordics and soon also beyond. These are my contacts. Please call or email. I will take any help that I can because I need it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, leaders. So who wants to start? Yes?
I'm the youngest, so I'm the one who most likely had the last teenage pimples. No, thank you so much, Tina. It's really great. I love the problem, love the solution, but just have a few questions. So isotretinoin is a son of a bitch. It's a very tough drug. And I know that it does solve the problems for those who get to use it, which is that it should be a part of your presentation, because it's very tough on your body. Not everyone can use it. If you are planning for a child, if you are pregnant, if you are lactating, if you have any sort of liver issues, you cannot use it. It's a super tough drug. So, and also there are other, we've come a long way from the 90s, right? Where they just gave you all sorts of ointments and drying stuff that was awful, like tea tree oil and whatever. Yeah. There's a lot of other hydrocolloidal stuff and like stuff that also works, even for like to a large degree in your 1 in 5 patients. So do you have other treatment plans in your program? Are you looking into other endocrinological issues so that you can also support more patients, also those who aren't interested in isotretinoin? Because a lot of people are also scared of that as a drug. Also, let's talk in terms of distribution.
All right. Okay, so thank you. Very good input here. if it was so easy that we would just prescribe one drug and I could go home already now. Isotretinoin is one of the drugs that we prescribed, and it's an amazing drug. It's a drug that can only be prescribed by specialists for the very same reasons that you were just bringing up. It's not the only drug that we're treating with. With that said, we've not had to interrupt a single issued treatment with isotretinoin for liver reasons. We have had one patient that said that she was that met someone who wanted to get a child, and then we had to pause her. So far we have a very strict protocol, and that's part of our innovation as well. With that said, our mission is to fix acne, not to sell isotretinoin. We're not selling the drug anyways, but prescribing it. We offer hormonal treatments that also require things like a blood test, for instance. What we're trying to avoid is the overprescription of antibiotics that is usually the case in primary care. People get antibiotics, and when this doesn't work, we just prescribe it again. That ruins skin. It ruins years of life. And it's actually amazing to see, because we track our patients every month. They get to rate, when they start a treatment, they usually rate themselves 2, 3, or 4 on a scale to 10. And when they go out, we see the pictures every month, of course, but their pictures actually, they become more nicer than they were before. It's actually very amazing to see. Yeah, exactly. You get but you really get it. You get like a skin renewal. So it's actually really amazing to see. I think that's part of the secret. That's why we also have 7 days a week direct access to dermatologists, so that if you run into any kind of problem, you don't have to wait 2 months to the next appointment. You can adjust it tomorrow.
Because you can always talk to a medical personnel as well to be follow-up.
Every
right?
day.
Because there's also an increased risk for suicidal ideation,
Yeah, so you can text what we are adding, what we don't have. We have a collaboration with digital psychologist as well.
Yeah,
so we send links if we discover somebody is feeling bad in our monthly follow-ups or in between. But they can text anytime. If we always reply the same day.
Thank you. So this was a long question and a long answer,
Yeah.
so we will move on, but you will be here and everybody can talk to you around this late,
Of course.
until night. Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll move over to the other side of Sweden, to Stockholm. This is a group of founders that is coming out of KTH on their entrepreneurial environment. And they are actually using AI, as we talked about earlier, to get instant insights into journal systems. So please welcome Smian at Optimed.
Yes, so like David explained, we are building a co-pilot for clinicians that gives instant answers from the entire patient record. So I assume everyone here has been to the doctors before. And when you go to the doctors, you expect them to have read your entire journal and have a full medical understanding of you. But what we don't know is actually how hard it is for them to actually get this information, because all of the information is buried inside complex and non-interoperable outdated systems. So this picture on the left here is a picture from Take Care. It's the largest journal system in Stockholm. And the one on the right is from Cosmic, which is the largest journal system in Sweden. And the data is actually 80% of it is unstructured within these systems. And each tab that you see here, each folder has other information that is different. And the doctors beforehand don't know whether the information they need exists. So they have to click through it, or they need some kind of external insight to actually find the information. And the consequence of this is that 2/3 of their time is spent reading the documents, reviewing the charts, trying to find this information in these legacy systems, and not actually treating the patients. And the even worse scenario is when they actually don't read the journals. They hop over it entirely, which could lead to potentially adverse outcomes, or them actually, the time to treatment being way more extended. So we've built Clara, which is a clinical language and reasoning agent that takes all of this information, fragmented, unstructured, and structured information, and puts it all into one place to deliver fast insights, clinical context-aware summaries and quick answers. Simply put, it takes hours of hunting into seconds of clarity. But the best way to show what Clara actually does is to show a live example of it. So on the left here, we asked one of the doctors in our team to read the journal and summarize it. We didn't give him any context. It took him 33 minutes. We gave Clara the same prompt, summarize this patient, and it took Clara 1 minute and 30 seconds to generate the answer, and the doctor can quickly find the information, look at the citations, and figure out basically everything they need to do in a significantly shorter amount of time. And the market here is absolutely huge. The total addressable market is 163 billion euros in a global scale, talking about digital healthcare. If we scale it down a little bit to natural language processing tools, it's a market of 32 billion euros. And what we can reasonably achieve in the next few years, which is the Nordics, it's a market of 13 million euros, which equates to roughly 774 clinics using our tool. And where are we in the process of acquiring this market? Well, we're in talks with 3 out of the 4 largest private primary care providers in Sweden. We have a design partnership with Karolinska Hospital, which is the largest hospital in Sweden and the 6th largest hospital in Europe. We have a live pilot currently running at a primary care clinic in Stockholm called Kungsholmsdoktorn, where 10 active users are currently using Clara in their daily workflow and providing us with feedback and stuff for us to iterate on. And we're also doing a research collaboration with KTH to actually measure how much time we're saving with Clara and also potentially measure how many adverse outcomes we can avoid. And we plan to use this momentum to first acquire Sweden, make our product well established in Sweden, then move into the Nordics because the similar regulatory landscape and similar way of working within clinical workflows. And then finally move to the big market, the largest market, USA, where the regulatory landscape is significantly easier and there's a lot more money to be made. So what makes us stand apart in the space of AI healthcare where everyone is trying to get in? Well, our system is inherently interoperable. It works with any EHR. And on top of this, it's got a very advanced agentic reasoning capability, which means that it can actually decide which information from these different systems that it needs to take to be able to give the answer. And we're the perfect people to actually do this because we're a combination of engineers and doctors. We have the tech and we have the medical insight. Me personally, I'm a medical engineer by trade. My co-founder, David, he's got a background in finance and operations. And Mina, he's got a master's degree in medical informatics, and he's a specialist doctor at an emergency care in Karolinska. And Ismail, he's also a specialist doctor, general practitioner, and he has also been a founder priorly, so he has entrepreneurial experience as well. But we don't want to stop there. Clara is just the beginning. We want to do something way bigger. We want to build an entire agentic network of different AI tools that can streamline the entire flow from when the patient even realizes that they're feeling sick to when the doctor delivers treatment. And we believe AI has the potential to do this. So we want to build a big agentic network that basically streamlines the entire flow, the interaction point, the connection between the patients and the doctors. And to make this a reality, we're asking for 700,000 euros for a 15% stake in our company to fund a 14-month runway for us so that we can launch the product and scale it throughout the Nordics. So let's improve patient journeys together.
All right, I think Valeria, you want to go.
Thank you very much. Very exciting as we are moving into the next big revolution, right, in our lives. So, big question. I have been looking and know quite a lot about AI. So, do you have a clinical proof that AI generated notes actually equals for the quality and safety of a human doctor?
Well,
because we know how much mistakes they make.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are multiple studies from Stanford, for example, that gives AI notes and tries to make it replicate the answers of, for example, do what we're trying to do, retrieve information. So in general, I think the answer is quite simple. Yes, AI is really good. It's already been proven in a similar type of domain, like the legal domain. RAG systems, which is the type of technology we're using, has already been proven there that it can read through complex documentation where there is this aspect of having to interpret the answers and have to have some kind of semantic understanding of it. And the LLMs that we have nowadays, the frontier models, they're completely capable of doing this, and potentially even more. Potentially even the next step of being able to actually diagnose, actually, suggest medication, be kind of like a virtual doctor almost. So yeah.
All right, Jörn.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to envision any kind of reality where this is not dramatically increasing the quality. It's just, obviously that's true for anyone who's looked at the quality of the systems today. Your problem, of course, is in the regulatory framework, the approval and the asymmetric downside of one patient being mistreated or something. That would be stacked up against, AI is coming to kill us. Not, that actually happens at a lot of doctors every day. And so the question is, how will you combat the regulatory glacial movement that is here? Not how will you deliver quality? Because any installation will be better. It's just how will you fix the other thing?
Yeah, I mean, I can explain our strategy, our regulatory strategy. We do want to acquire MDR, of course. So we're already starting that work. But on a more policy level, I think the EU has already put these kind of things into place. We have the AI Act, which basically controls what AI, how AI should be deployed in Europe. And yeah, MDR is already a really robust framework. It's so hard to get. It's the big roadblock for most startups or most companies even who try to go into medtech, which means if you can get over this hurdle, it's almost guaranteed that your product is safe. Now, to also answer the question of, who do you put the blame on? In this entire pipeline, we don't want to take the agency away from the doctor. At the end of the day, the doctor, the person who has spent years of their life studying to become this highly educated profession, is the one who needs to understand, should have this big picture understanding and be able to give the answers. It's similar to like vibe coding tools and building a software. You can vibe code a software and it might work on the surface, but when it crashes, it's the developer's fault that it didn't crash. I mean that it did crash.
All right. Thank you very much. We have to move on. We only have 5 minutes left and 2 pitches, so we need to speed up. So thank you very much, all. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. We will go into the next startup. Many of you maybe have thought of this, that could I use my health data better in new ways? Maybe AI could be a solution or part of a solution to this as well. So this is also an AI startup that we will meet now. So big hands for Peter from Saluto.
Thank you. So, good evening, and pleased to be here. And we noticed that there's explosive interest in biological aging. People with an aging population, people take greater interest in how they're aging and what they can do about it. Saluto takes fragmented signals and turns them into a unified individual view, showing how you can shape your aging with preventive measures. Our mission is to help people take data-driven action to live a longer and healthier life. Metabolic dysfunction steals millions of healthy life years for us, even though large share is preventable. The challenge is that current health checks doesn't work. There are unclear results, episodic, and with a variation of access to recurrent blood testing. And finally, insights doesn't always translate to action. So we are developed and deployed a platform that unifies blood biomarkers, wearable data, and biometrics into a unified metabolic profile that drives our biological age. Secondly, we address the access challenge, where we team up with car partners to, for the first time in Europe, supply venous blood testing at the gyms. And next year we will launch a home testing kit that's also clinically validated. But finally, and this is also our go-to-market, we are teaming up with gyms and operators and their coaches and personal trainer to provide the human-based interventions that drives a key to behavior. And this is leads to the market. So 20% of the adult population carries a gym membership. In Stockholm, it's over 40%. So this is one of the most underutilized preventive channels. So this is what we're tapping into and locking up using our platform. And we are unlocking better loyalty, greater differentiation as a services, and we're also a new revenue stream with a revenue share model. And we're very proud of our feedback received so far from the gyms and fitness centers, but we're mostly proud of that we have helped hundreds of people, more than 500 people now, giving them understanding of their health and drive better health. And we want to invite you to journey to get those hundreds to thousands and 10,000s. So we're already now have partners with the sort of famous brands, at least in Sweden, where we're working actively now. And we also have validated leads starting early next year that we can tap into. So it's in the gym and fitness centers, but also occupational health, where we work together with them to drive this momentum. And this provides a very efficient go-to-market where we can access a membership base that's already there. And we are providing our platform with a unified view and insights and combine it with a seamless integration with wearables. This means that we combine high-quality biomarkers with high-frequency data to understand the everyday journey for these individuals. Very simple journey. You take your blood test, you have your own smartphone at home to scan your body, to get your body metrics, and then you get your metabolic and bio-age baseline. Then you start working with your activities, and with a 6 months follow-up, we can further engage the user in the journey. It's a very strong unit economics, as you see. It's a subscription model at 22 euros after tax. We see a 10 euro direct costs, which is us around 50% margin. This will take us to break even at 3,000 subscribers, which we project to reach by Q4 next year. And the team, we're proud, we're an AI-first company. I have a data science background, but our doctors ensure that we do this clinically correct. Even if we're not in healthcare, we want to ensure that each person have a doctor in the loop for each assessment that we do. And most importantly for our go-to-market, we have Lillemor, who has worked more than 20 years in the wellness and fitness industry. So it's very important with the customer intimacy to understand how they're operating, from the owners down to the coaches and trainers. And we are asking for 400,000 euros to unlock our milestones. It's about getting the home testing kits in place. It's about the coach interface to launch that, and 2 key hires within sales and development. And we're aiming a projection for the cash flow, cash flow positive by the end of next year. These milestones and the cash flow together will get us in a strong position to do a seed round also by the end of next year. So we have raised 700,000 euros to date, and we have been able to build, test, and launch a platform, and we have worked very hard with the product market fit with these fitness gyms and centers. And we're now, as I said, we're asking for 400,000, which will enable us to invite more people on the journey to getting us from hundreds of people to better health and more longer life to thousands. So that's what we want to invite you to. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So who wants to start? Yeah, okay.
I have a question about blood. So currently there are 2 notable startups in Oslo that are working on the same model. And there's a little bit of a ruffling of feathers currently with the largest phlebotomy lab, which is threatening to boycott these companies because they are not keen on increasing the amount of what they deem unnecessary blood testing. So this solution, to me, since you're also introducing the ability to blood test at gyms and employers, is it just a simple tick test, or does it require phlebotomy?
So for the gyms, this is the first in Europe actually. We will bring a nurse to the gyms because it's a totally different context than going to the hospital to take you. So we have nurses there together with our partners. So they are accredited phlebotomists that will help do this. So they are really interested in driving this. They have raised money themselves and want to increase the volumes actually. So they are sort of on our side definitely in this. And this is a 3-part collaboration with the person taking the blood, the gyms, and us that drives analysis and drives the help drive the behavior change. Yeah, so that's but it's a critical part because I think there's tons of health apps out there, but we're doing it with high quality biomarkers, and we want to ensure also for a home testing kits, which that will be capillary, but we want to ensure that this is also be the first one CE marked capillary blood test laboratory in Europe, and there's another company also involved for that. Yes, thank you.
Great.
Quick question: what about people who do not go to the gyms? I mean, are we out of luck?
Yeah. That's a good question, and we want to reach as many as possible. Some we reach with digital health courses. So we had a very successful program with a dietitian, a famous dietitian in Sweden. So we brought on 50 people that normally don't go to the gym. So there are other channels for us to reach them, but we said that we will not in the next 2 years we won't reach everyone, but we start where we have really good strong channel, where we have integrated stickiness, because we work a lot with the churn for the gyms to enable that people that perhaps don't dare to go to the gym are more invited and feel that it's safe to do that. Yeah.
Great. And the final question.
Quick question: are you planning to expand also into mental health, which also plays into the overall wellness of a human being?
Yes, so it's important even in blood metrics to understand stress levels, sleep, anxiety, metabolic health, which is our focus area, drives depression to a large extent. So it's important. So we bring that in surveys, through our app, but also with partnership. I mean, when we see depressive disorders, for instance, we can channel them to partners that have had this expertise. But I think it's a great question, because we want to unify the physical and the mental state, which is so critical in aging. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for the great questions.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. We reached the last pitch for today or tonight. And this is a company from India as well. They are into digital analysis. They have hardware as well, doing stool analysis. Unfortunately, Prashank couldn't come, so he has pre-recorded the 5-minute video, which we're gonna play for you here. Then he's gonna appear on Teams. Hopefully it'll work, and you can ask him some questions after the video. All right. So welcome, Shashank and Microheal.
Myself Shashank, I'm founder of Microheal. At Microheal, we are trying to fix the broken care management pathway. So let's consider, if any of us suffers from chronic condition or a disorder and we visit a hospital, or if somebody has admitted for the surgery, all these, particularly chronic disorder patient and surgical patient are being taken care within the wall. Once they leave the hospital, there is no care beyond wall, right? There is no vital monitoring or progress tracking or how exactly there has been better recovery of patient. So even hospital is lost from the patient connect, and patient doesn't have any nudges on the hospital side. So that's even data says out of 10 patients who move out of hospital, 3 to 4 come back, and technically 6 are lost. So our vision over here is to improve chronic condition disorder management and post-surgical outcomes with a personalized medication approach that is combining pharmaceutical therapies with technology. By technology mean we want to create a care management platform which comprises of three things. One is the software, another is the care management team which delivers you clinically validated protocol, and third is the layer of devices. On the software side, there is a dashboard which gives access to the patient, doctor and the care team where they can track their vital, and for the patient there is a WhatsApp based app and an app where they can track their vital and input and connect with the care team whenever they want to. And devices help us to monitor them and to even track their improvement with the time, and if there is any emergency intervention required, then doctor is also informed at the same time. So this creates this fills that gap particularly which we are talking about. So our first therapeutic area which we have targeted is into gastro gut disorder, which includes problem like IBS, functional dyspepsia and all. And if we talk about its prevalence, in India it's 20, globally it's 40, and it's increasing with a very higher rate. The current issue with the current solution is either it's drug or a food science, right? But gut disorder is also known as a disorder between a gut and brain axis, and it's a psychosomatic in nature. Psychosomatic means your thought process or your behavior triggers your physiological symptom. But that cannot be addressed through the current solution. That's where we have created our gut-brain axis protocol, which we combine with the current therapeutic, that is drug. So we have a gold standard drug, and then another is drug plus DTX. Over here you can see the scoring reduction is in minus and positive on the another side, and with a greater difference. That shows the efficacy of a protocol, because both the side drugs were same, but the outcome has been tremendously improved. Like we have reduced 79% of the severity symptom score within like 12 weeks of time. So this shows the efficacy of our protocol. So let's talk about the patient onboarding. So if patient visit a hospital or a doctor prescribe a medication. Parallel to it, doctor will also ask a patient to scan a QR. After scanning a QR, patient would be taken over WhatsApp, over which they'll select their comfortable language. After selecting it, patient would get a consent form. After agreeing that, patient would be getting access to the care team. Care team would comprises of different specialists depend upon the department. For gastro, we have behavior nutritionist and a care manager. We create a personalized behavioral profile creation, and then we try to identify the psychosomatic issue. Psychosomatic is like we have identified 20 different types of psychosomatic issue, out of which I'll give you some layman example like perfectionism. Another is OCD related to over information. So for such issues, what should be the right therapy, which is the on working on the brain side, and what should be the right food for as an introduction of low FODMAP diet, so that we can reset your gut microbiome. And that's how we deliver our protocol. And then we have a devices which tracks the form of stool. So to know your gut health, the best form of biomarker is to know the type of stool. If you're a pet parent, you'll always, doctor will ask you about a pet stool, right? So this is one of its kind medical device that will track the form of stool, color of stool, frequency of stool, if there is a blood in stool, undigested food or mucus in stool. And it can be utilized in 5 different vertical, like pharmaceutical company can use in their clinical trials, in smart toilet, in longevity clinics, elderly care remote monitoring, and for identifying GI related psychosomatic issues. Our business model is to work with pharma and hospitals directly. We have onboarded more than 30 gastros. We have collaborated with a Japanese company, Nito Denko, for building this GI-related psychosomatic gut disorder machine device. And then we have collaborated with Marengo to diversify into cardiac rehab and renal transplant. Currently, we have closed a revenue of $55K. We projected to close around $150K. Our ask is around $500K. I look after product innovation and sales side. Varun look after the clinical side. Nupul look after the operations and HRA. Sakshi heads the product side. Santosh heads the medical devices, and Samit heads the tech team. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
All right, let's see if the tech ghost is on our favor here. We'll try to connect on Teams and see if it works. We can ask some questions.
Yes. Perfect.
So, Shashank, can you hear us? Thumbs up if you can hear us.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes, now
All right.
I can hear you.
Who wants to have a go first? Who has a microphone? Stenar.
So for 2025, we are projecting it to $150K, and for 26, we're projecting it around $500K.
Okay. Can you repeat the question so everyone here? You heard it? Yeah?
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we move on. The next question.
Have you done, or are there any patentable technology that your company have? Anything that
Yes,
can
ma'am.
be protected?
Yes, ma'am. We have already done patent in India, and we have lined up a clinical trial with all the ethics committee approvals and CDSC approval. Plus, we have lined up our clinical trial for devices, which will complete by Feb, which we have collaborated with NITO particularly, which will help us to get access to other market at the same time, because NITO have a self watch which basically calculate the stress, and we'll be correlating that stress parameter with your stool parameter to identify if somebody have a GI related psychosomatic issues. So we have got patent in India. After completing the trial, we'll be applying patent globally, because we need to have that precision and strong data and the frequency which we are tracking through our devices. I mean, number of sensors which we are using particularly for that.
Okay. Any last questions from the panel? Or are we happy? All right. Thank you very much, Shashank. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry I missed this opportunity, but would love to. I mean, I would love to if any of you guys give me a reason. So I'll definitely love to come to travel back over there.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Thank you, everyone.
For sure. Yeah.
For sure. You're welcome anytime. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Bye. Always a tech ghost. Always a tech ghost.
Yeah.
All right. But we're done. We're done, actually. So what happens now, Stefan?
Yes. Of course, we want to celebrate together with all of you and also with the startups team. So we will actually give our startups a diploma for their participation in the program and actually for managing everything until now and actually doing this show. So we will give them a diploma.
And I think to let us all do what we want to do, the rest of you, bar is open. So participants and investors, you can move over there and have some food and some drinks. And then we will stay here with the startups and give them some diplomas and perhaps...
And do a photo shoot.
Do a photo shoot as
yes, with everybody.
So yeah, let's conclude it like that. And thank you very much for joining physically and digitally online as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very well. Everybody, welcome, everybody.